This episode of My Two Satoshis is brought to you by Algorand. Algorand solves the existing trilemma of today's blockchains, which is that they all can only offer at most two of the three properties: scalability, security, or decentralization. With Algorand's proprietary architecture, participants on the network can ensure that it will never fork. Algorand is based on a new POS consensus algorithm called Pure Proof of Stake, which is even better than my beloved delegated proof of stake system. Visit algorand.com for more information on this new technology. Yeah, it's your boy Crypto Blood, and welcome to another episode of My Two Satoshis. It is July 17th, 2019. Shout out to my man LTC Perozzi for another song request. We got Obi Trice, The Setup, Stand Up Detroit. Thanks for that song request, LTC. Hope you guys doing well today, and welcome to another episode. Today, we are going to be looking at something Ron Paul said a couple of days ago regarding cryptocurrencies. He says he loves it. He loves cryptocurrencies, and he loves competition. He thinks this is a good thing as far as competition for what we have today with these fiat currencies. So we'll take a look at that article. You know, I was very surprised that I reported on Ron Paul something he said or pertaining to cryptocurrencies maybe about 3 months ago. He mentioned that he did not own any cryptocurrencies, which I thought was a shock, at least to me. I don't know about you guys, but I just knew he would have had some cryptocurrencies, seeing that he's such a libertarian and a person for freedom and, you know, trying to take back over ownership of real money and so on and so forth. But he doesn't. He at least didn't at that point. Let me know in the comments below if you're shocked that Ron Paul doesn't own any cryptocurrencies. Second article is out of CoinDesk, and it is about lawmakers amping up pressure on Facebook to halt Libra cryptocurrency developments. If you guys don't know, this is like the second day of the hearings with Libra, or I should say Calibra, the parent company that's going to be heading this whole Libra coin. So we're going to take a look at some of the details from the second day's hearings. AOC also weighed in on cryptos in this hearing. Peter Schiff calls her the bartender. Great name in my opinion, Peter. So yeah, we'll take a look at this as well. And then thirdly, we've got Tether. The stablecoin is now going to be launching on the Algorand blockchain. I told you guys about Algorand. I know you've probably seen some of the drops that play at the beginning of some of my Two Satoshi videos, but I'm telling you, you guys need to look out for Algorand. And I think it's going to be a heavy hitter and one that's going to be around for the blockchain 3.0 movement. So before we get started, again, shout out to my channel sponsors. We've got BitcoinConfidential.cc, a proof of stake privacy coin. One of very few out there, so check those guys out. And smartcash.cc for instant pay. They're faster than Visa and MasterCard and have no processing fees. They were also voted #1 crypto in Brazil in 2018. Check those guys out as well. And lastly, we've got Moon Lambos. Check them out for any apparel that you may be interested in. You can save 10% if you use the word CryptoBlood10 at checkout. So today for the heat map, we've got a green day, people, but it only shows or tells half the story. A green day after dropping pretty substantially. We've got Bitcoin up 2.7% to $9,873. Was as low as I think almost 9,000. That's crazy. Ethereum is up 8% to $215. EOS up 13%. It looks like 11% now to $4 flat. Litecoin up 17% to $92. Man, this volatility is crazy. But to give you a better view of what's going on, the 7-day performance, we still have Bitcoin down 18% in the last 7 days. Ethereum down 25%, EOS down 23%, and Litecoin down 14%. So a lot of these guys have been wrecked hard in the last 7 days. So that just kind of gives you a perspective where we are with today's bounce back. So here you go, the technicals. Again, you saw where we bounced on the backside of that trend line, which was rejected hard by the bears. So that wasn't a good sign. I told you that wasn't a good sign that happened the other day, and we just took a tumble, people. We're currently at pretty critical levels though, because if you look, if I do a line here, we're right at that level where, you know, it's a make or break. We're trying to break back above this support line here. As you can see, we double tapped it there. And now we're trying to break back above here. So if we can close above this area for maybe about 4 to 8 hours, that should now again become an area of support for us. It's currently still an area of resistance. So we just got to see how the bulls and bears react to this level. That area is where we have to start trying to get above and close above. At least 4 to 8 hours worth. I would be comfortable with it saying that's a support area again. If we can't hold that, we're going to the 8,200 area. So I'll keep an eye out on it. But again, we're right at critical levels right now at the time of recording. So we'll just have to see what happens. First article out of CoinDesk, and it's about lawmakers amping up pressure on Facebook to halt Libra cryptocurrency development. It's nothing new. If you follow my channel, this was my thesis right out the gate after seeing this white paper they rolled out earlier this month. It says U.S. lawmakers reportedly pressed Facebook's top blockchain executive to halt development of the Libra cryptocurrency during a contentious hearing on the project Wednesday. They didn't get far. David Marcus, the CEO of Facebook's subsidiary Calibra, reiterated his promise that Libra would not launch until regulators' concerns were fully addressed, but he stopped short of committing to freezing technical work on the project, much to the chagrin of House Financial Services Committee members. The committee's chairwoman, Maxine Waters, good God, had previously called for a moratorium, and it was one of the first things she brought up in the hearing, asking Facebook's executive, will you stop dancing around the question and commit here in this committee to a moratorium until Congress enacts an appropriate legal framework to ensure that Libra and Calibra do what you claim it will do. Marcus responded with roughly the same talking points he's been using for weeks. He said, I agree with you that this needs to be analyzed and understood before it can be launched, and this is my commitment to you. We will take the time to get this right. Another Democratic representative raised the issue during her turn to question Marcus. He started to give a similar answer to what he said earlier, but before he could finish, she cut him off. She said, I take that as a no. Maloney then asked Marcus if he would at least promise to do a small pilot test of Libra involving no more than 1 million users and overseen by the Federal Reserve and Securities and Exchange Commission before fully launching the currency. Again, he demurred, saying only that he would commit to working with regulators. Not that a pilot would be her preferred outcome. She said, I don't think you should launch a new currency at all. Like the previous day's Senate Banking Committee hearing, Wednesday's panel was wide-ranging, with lawmakers grilling Marcus on everything from money laundering to financial stability to whether Libra should be regulated as an exchange-traded fund or a bank. Just to chime in really quickly on that point, it's probably in Facebook's best interest that the government looks at them as an ETF and not a bank. A bank would add so much overhead and just scrutiny that I don't think that it would be a profitable thing for them to do if they went that route. But we'll have to see what even happens. I mean, I'm not even convinced that this thing is going to launch at all anytime soon, at least. So another Democratic representative, Brad Sherman, and you guys are starting to see the pattern here, perhaps crypto's loudest congressional critic, suggests that Libra, listen to this, Libra was somehow more dangerous to America than 9/11. I can't make this stuff up, people. Comparatively sober colleagues wondered if the projects would become systematically important. Beltway speak for too big to fail. The Republicans on the panel were less hostile, but nevertheless asked pointed questions. Representative Sean Duffy, for example, complimented Marcus for Facebook's innovation, but asked if Libra would ban controversial speakers like Milo Yiannopoulos or Louis Farrakhan from using the platform, as Facebook has done in its flagship social network. Wow, personally, he said, I believe we shouldn't be in the business of telling people what they can do with their money, adding a caveat that such policies would be up to the governing council of the Libra Association Consortium. And then, of course, the icing on the cake, the cherry on top, is AOC weighing in on this whole thing. The representative from New York The young lawmaker, known for her social media savvy and socialist economic positions, brought an interesting bit of monetary history into the discussion, which she probably just Googled a few hours before the hearing. She suggested that Libra currency would be a digital version of script, a type of private money that corporations once used to pay employees. Coal miners and loggers, for instance, were paid in script they could use to buy goods at the company store. Marcus, a former president of PayPal, said he was not familiar with the term. AOC also questioned the governance of this aspiring global currency. Were the members of the association democratically elected, and who picked them? She asked Marcus. And then Marcus said, it's not up to me to decide. So we'll see what happens here. But as you see, the Dems definitely ain't having it. But I thought they were the more liberal ones, right? Yeah, right. It doesn't matter, though, because it doesn't even come down to a red, blue, Democrat, Republican topic here. So at the end of the day, there's going to be a bipartisan vote to shut this Libra project down in the States. I'm telling you guys. Again, you guys let me know your thoughts about it, but I don't see this having any benefit to either parties. Second article out of Coin Speaker is about Ron Paul. And he said, I'm all up for cryptocurrencies. He says he loves the competition. Ron Paul, former congressman and ex-presidential candidate, called cryptocurrencies a great idea. He likes competing currencies and is a longtime proponent of winding down the Federal Reserve and radical restructuring of how the U.S. dollar is issued. The former Republican congressman and presidential candidate Ron Paul said during his interview in a CNBC's Squawk Alley segment that he is in favor of cryptocurrencies and blockchain technology because he likes competing currencies. I am for the least amount of regulation. I don't know what's going to happen to cryptocurrencies. I think it's a great idea, and I only have one rule: no fraud. Paul expressed his disapproval of governments forbidding crypto just because they are used to always having monopoly control over money and credit. He says, obviously, that's why we have a Federal Reserve, instead allowing the market to operate. So it's this desire to regulate and find out. But I think that's because governments are always afraid of losing some tax revenues if they're not careful. But I'm for the least amount of regulation. I don't know what's going to happen to cryptocurrencies. I think it's a great idea, and I only have one rule: no fraud. Paul also drew several comparisons to the traditional asset gold. One way in which Paul appears to think gold is similar to crypto is that both assets are competing with fiat money. He says governments aren't very tolerant of competition, and they're not even tolerant with using the Constitution to compete with the fiat dollar, because gold and silver, you can't use it. The big question is, thinks Paul, can a cryptocurrency fulfill the requirement that you have a precise definition of the unit of account and it's consistent? I think blockchain technology is what we should be talking about, not crypto money, because that's a question that's going to be solved by the marketplace, and it has to contend with government regulations. So that's no easy task. And finally, Ron Paul says, I just don't think the dollar is going to last. I don't think any fiat currency lasts forever. They all self-destruct. Right now, the world is engulfed with fiat currency. They're all paper currencies. That's one of the other reasons the dollar holds up. What are you competing against? The euro and the yen? The competition out there isn't any good. That's very true. Paul is a longtime proponent of winding down the Federal Reserve and radically restructuring the way U.S. dollars are issued. Many cryptocurrency supporters hold such beliefs. The most vocal opponents of cryptocurrency have been liberals so far. So we'll have to see what happens here. And again, all the points that Ron Paul mentions here is the very reason we won't see positive reaction from the government when it comes to Libra, because it violates and threatens every key point that Ron Paul mentions here in this article. So you guys let me know, what do you think about cryptocurrencies, more in particular Bitcoin being that gold 2.0, which I think will happen. What you have to understand is, and this is where many people get confused, and I see videos every day: stock market is going to crash, stock market is going to do this, we're doomed, all this stuff, right? What you have to understand is we're in an era where fiat currencies are going to continually be debased in value. So that means anything that is priced in dollar, let's say yen, euro, they're going to continue to go up. It's going to take more dollars to purchase those assets, those physical goods. So no, you're not going to see a stock market crash. You may see mini crashes, and a response from the Federal Reserve will be to lower interest rates, make money easier to borrow, cheaper to borrow, and subsequently that's just going to funnel right back into the equities market. So you're going to see a melt up because there's no other place for this money to go, and this is globally. So the U.S. markets are not just a domestic market anymore. The U.S. stock markets, equity markets are a global marketplace. You're having, cheap money from euro, from the yen, from even the Chinese yuan. All that money is flowing into the equities market, and it's just going to continue to go higher and higher. You're going to see $30,000 Dow very soon. Next year, probably end of next year, something like that. You know what I mean? Like, it's just going to continue to go up. However, this is what you have to pay attention to and what you have to consider. Do you want to be in a $30,000 Dow index, or let's just say $2,500 gold, or $100,000 Bitcoin? That's what you have to ask yourself. Which one is going to go up more in terms of dollars? I think it's going to be Bitcoin. That's a no-brainer for me. And that's what you should be telling your friends and family members. Last article was out of CoinDesk. It's about Tether stablecoin being launched on the Algorand blockchain. I've been talking about this blockchain. I did a sponsored review of this project. This by far, so far, I would say is the most intriguing one that I've seen come across my desk. Something you guys should definitely look out for. They're doing a Dutch auction. Of course, the land of the free, citizens of the United States aren't able to participate, but I say you should definitely still look into trying to secure you some of these tokens in the secondary market once they start hitting the exchanges. But let's take a look at this article about Tether launching on Algorand. It says the popular and sometimes controversial stablecoin Tether is to launch on a fifth blockchain, announced by the mostly US dollar-backed token issuer on its website. The news means that traders will have USD stable token options on Omni, Ethereum, Tron, EOS, and soon Algorand. Now, for them to add this fifth one here, Algorand, and you see the other ones that are there, Omni is essentially like over the Bitcoin network. That is huge news and validation. It should be for anyone looking at Algorand. For them to pick that, they must understand how this technology, this new blockchain, how powerful it can be. Tether's CTO said that extending Tether into the Algorand ecosystem is a fantastic opportunity for us to further contribute to blockchain interoperability and collaboration. We are very excited about the potential this enables for other projects in the decentralized ecosystem, and we eagerly await working closely with many of them in the future. The article goes on to say that Tether is widely used by traders to move money in and out of cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin without needing to exchange back into dollars with each trade. Cryptocurrency exchanges also use Tether to transfer funds between each other to avoid having to move lots of bucks through not always cooperative banks. Despite this widespread use in the crypto markets, stablecoin has had its issues, including accidentally minting $5 billion worth of USDT during the chain swap process last week, and that was on Tron. Guys, I covered that one. So it says Tether's relationship with its sister firm crypto exchange Bitfinex has also come under the spotlight, with claims the token has been used to prop up the price of Bitcoin. Well, there you have it. More so, I wanted to just highlight the fact that Algorand will now have stablecoin Tether. Only 5 blockchains are using Tether. Pretty interesting to see Tether select Algorand as the 5th blockchain. You guys let me know if you know anything about Algorand, and have you looked at the review I did on Algorand. I thought that was pretty neat. It's caught my attention since doing that, and I wanted to just give you guys a heads up on that blockchain. Again, take a look at it. It may be something solid there to look into. But that's pretty much it for today, ladies and gents. Shout out to my man LTC Perozzi for that song request. D-Town Stand Up, Obi Trice, The Setup. Make sure you guys like, share, and subscribe, and click that bell to be alerted for every video I do on a daily basis. If you guys got any questions, drop them in the comments below. and I'll surely try to respond to them. But that's pretty much it, though. That's my two Satoshis for July 17th, 2019. I'm out of here, people. How? She tried to plot on a nigga.